Hello, dear masters. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to see all of you here. We're gathered here today to talk about something that is so near and dear to us, that is most important to all of us, and that is our mastery. Being a master, being an embodied master, and being an embodied master on the planet right now, in this point of human time. Right now, it's November 2023. We are in the Chamber Pavilion in the studio in Kona, Hawaii. We have been in this beautiful, beautiful point of energy of the masters for a little time now, because all of us have been here at the workshop just right now. We just finished the workshop that was called Exploring the New Light. I'm super excited to see all of you here, all of your smiling faces. Today with us, I'll start introducing all of us. So we have Lyudmila Rudenko, we have Tihomir Lalic, we have Anna Taipale, we have Marko Juroshevich, we have Stefan Weingart. Did I say it right? Weigand. We have Kim Sappala, and we have Martin Eiles. And my name is Anastasia Macmillan. I am managing this project, so I'm today going to be asking you the questions and trying to inspire you to share your experiences, and hopefully we'll all have a good time with this discussion. So let us all begin. So if we're talking about masters of the past, what are the main or the most impactful misconceptions in your perception that really, really affected your, we can talk about the humanity, but your personal idea of a master? Okay, this is what a master is. Misconceptions. Anyone wants to start?
I'd like to start, yeah.
Sure.
For me, a master was like, he's always has a slight smiling face. And if there's any trouble, he stays always calm, and he knows what's behind. So he knows always the truth. If someone has an issue, then he already knows, yeah, that's because of this, and he can see aura, of course.
All-seeing, right?
All-seeing, all-knowing, all having integrated and being calm in every situation.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to?
Well, I'm going to go back to flying carpets because that's what I thought that's going to happen. I'm going to be...
Miracles.
I'm going to end up going on Venus, like on a weekend, just like for a coffee, and I'll have all these cool superpower skills, but that's really not...
Dancing on water.
Dancing on water. But yeah, so because you hear all these stories about all these masters of old that figure out something in a cave and then came out and suddenly they were these cool people, but that's not at all what it feels like. It feels completely different. So yeah.
What formed your expectations of what is the master of the past? Paint me a picture.
Yeah.
What
it
does
also changed
usually
over time for me. So what was said, the magic aspect. Yeah, basically I could do these magical things like from physics. I know there's just space in the wall stuff. So I was like, oh, maybe I can reach through that or something like that. Just overcome all those boundaries. But then another aspect was also a huge responsibility as a master. I felt like, oh yeah, then I have to take, maybe, lead other people and then be a guru and blah, blah. And so it's kind of intimidating, it's like...
So master was supposed to be a guru.
Yeah, this was kind of, in the back of my mind for some time.
Yeah, same with me. Most of the masters were portrayed as spiritual teachers or gurus. Of course, most of them were male, so that was a bit impractical as well. Yeah. And the same, that things that have already been mentioned about those, like magic tricks, or I can just reach into my pocket and find diamonds, which I'm still open to exploring that.
Thank you. Lucy, did you have any misconceptions that
yes.
really affected you?
Yes, master should be highly educated, very smart, highly intelligent, and master should be like artificial intelligent. It knows everything about everybody. It's like put the button, and master knows everything. You know, always all the answers about all over the world, about the whole world. Sorry, and at the same time very tolerant to everybody and to everything. But for me, it's hard.
Yeah, we can all relate to that. Thank you so much. That's a very important one.
I also kind of had, in one way, this kind of understanding that a master kind of knew it all, and it was very easy life for a master. I didn't have to deal with this mass consciousness and the human conditions still. So I understood it would be easier, but I really thought that would be kind of this magic, being able to be above all and kind of navigate through it. But it's not. You still have to deal with the gravity and mass consciousness. It's easier, but it's not as I imagined it to be. So.
Yeah, I have something to add to that. Yeah, it's like the human having like this human expectation of what that might look like this very in the human template. And what I found in this discovery is that the perspectives really, really open, so that there's so much more than the human in this experience of human, and the human limited perspective, that kind of mental controlling perspective, starts to kind of fading from its focal point.
What did you think and feel you yourself would be like when you're enlightened? Kim, we know she's all into diamonds. So flying carpets. Anyone, if you want to name a few things, it's okay. Just shortly. I thought I was gonna be like this and this and this. So, Stefan, what did you think you were gonna be like?
I was really just curious about it because I couldn't relate too much about it. But one thing, as I said, like reaching through walls, maybe just like going beyond physics.
Going beyond physics.
Yeah,
okay.
kind of, yeah.
For me, before I came to Crimson Circle, I was on this New Age stuff and had healing education. So I thought I will be a great healer.
Okay.
I can help many people with their issues. Yeah.
Great healer. Anyone else? What did you feel, guys?
I felt kind of there will be this above thing, beyond thing, magic kind of thing was that you can do really cool stuff and fun stuff, crazy stuff. So.
Marco?
Yeah, I mean, I
Anything
had
beyond the carpets?
Yes, I did have many things beyond the carpet. It was all the problems are going to disappear.
Right.
I was like, okay, once I reach my enlightenment, I'm never going to have a problem ever. Nobody's ever going to bother me. Yeah, I'm just not going to worry about anything. Little did I know that actually when you do realize that you are realized, then, but we're going to talk about it, right? That's when you actually realize, oh, wait, there are all these aspects. There I have the whole village trying to chime in and to do their thing. So, yeah, I crashed, so I had different expectations. I'll be perfect, but I'm not perfect. So, yeah, that's, like, if I summarize, it would be that I'm going to be perfect.
Perfect.
For me, it's the power not to control the reality and to manipulate the reality. It's exactly the power to create some type of borders when the reality and mass consciousness cannot disturb you at any time. at any level. It's like you are powerful enough to reject any shit, any manipulation from the mass consciousness, from the matrix. Just
So
the power of your own reality to control the other reality, but not directly through your own reality.
So you felt you were not going to be affected
Yes,
by
exactly.
anyone else?
Well, I would like to add to what Marco was saying about the aspects. Like, that was for me such a huge expectation that I would never get triggered. Like, I would never have aspects flying into my face. And so, yeah, that was surprising.
So, what was it like for you? Was it the excitement? I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be the healer, all-seeing, or you were kind of, am I gonna be there?
Yeah, I mean, I did have doubts. Doubt if I'm already there, and I didn't have so much doubts that, like, if will I ever get there? But, like, for example, problem would come up, and I'll be like, oh, okay, so I have a problem. That means I'm not enlightened. So then, okay, so then I'm not enlightened, and we'll see if it ever happens. So that was a trap. I would wake up and something would come up, and that's when you're like, oh, well, I'm not enlightened because I have some shit in my life. So then, so that can go on and on until one day you say, it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna. I pretended that I was, and then I actually, boom, realized I actually really was. So that actually helped me.
For me, I had like this Seva aspect for some time. Like goes along what Martin said, like healing other people. And I felt like, yeah, I want to help everybody to get, well and enjoy their life. And it felt like it was just underlying. It's probably so from that perspective, like, Jesus-like kind of, just like help people, touching them, and then they're like all good kind of thing. But it also felt like a real burden, like, I'm responsible for all those people. And then letting that go was really huge. But that was at first a little bit,
I'm also this Jesus type. So thinking, I had to be like Jesus, or I want to be like Jesus. And we, at the end of the education of our healing, we had to write what we think a healer is. And I began to write, and then I thought, oh my God, it sounds like being perfect, as you said. It sounds like being Jesus. And then there was, I'm so damn far away from that, I will never reach this. But it was like, but this is the goal. You have to be like this, otherwise you have lost or you haven't got it. So I was also this thought, it has to be this Jesus thing.
Okay, thank you. Martin was into Jesus. For others, any particular masters of the past that were the inspiration for you?
Saint Germain.
With the diamond thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other masters that were your
I was
favorites?
into Mary Magdalene.
Mary
I really
Magdalene.
was,
Some are not even aware that she's a master.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mary Magdalene. How about you, Anna?
I just mentioned a modern day person who's Adyashanti that I really resonate with.
Thank you. Tim, did anyone inspire you?
For me, definitely Saint Germain.
Saint Germain.
Saint Germain, Kudhumi, and Amora Guanin. Yes, Amora Guanin.
Thank you. Stefan, Jesus?
Well, in the beginning, Jesus, and then Saint Germain came about, and I really like the tough love. No, Adamus probably, but yeah, definitely Saint Germain, and the humor with Kutumi.
Yeah, just because you asked about the doubts, like I had so many doubts. Like for a decade, I was doubting it. Like, is this even real? And then the doubts would go away for a day, and then they would come back, and it was like a real battle for me for
They
a
would come
long
back
time.
and bring more doubts with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. So when Saint Germain or Adamus was talking to us about the Summer of Realization in 2020, he started a little bit earlier and was kind of prepping us for this and saying, guys, decide how do you want to experience it. You're going to get it in 2020. I know the date, that's what he was saying. How are you going to experience it? Anyone wants to share what your choice was and whether it actually came true?
So that summer I was under the shower and I just realized it was realized. But then I was like, no, this is not how I'm gonna do it. Okay. Like I did have a little doubts and all that, but I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it in style. So my soul knows how I want it. So one day I was in Central Park and it was just boom. It was spectacular. But it's because I chose that. I didn't want to have a boring story under the shower, but it's just me. So I did get a drama and it was amazing. So right after.
Wonderful.
It was already years ago when I just had this choice and a wish that I don't want to jolt out of the body and I don't want to go crazy. So I would love it for it to be as smooth as possible.
Yeah, I wanted a big spectacle like fireworks and angel choirs and lightning striking and so I kept waiting for that and waiting and it wouldn't happen. And then one day I was just like, fuck this, I'm just gonna choose. I'm done with waiting. So it was very anticlimactic, but in a way that was good because it was smooth. I didn't go crazy or pop out of the body. So I'm happy about that.
And if we're talking, I'm going to ask everyone, but if we're talking about the timing, Marco, when was that for you?
Summer solstice 2021.
When did you realize that you were realized?
Yeah, it was gradual, and there were these different experiences over a period of time. But there was this specific moment when I was just literally walking down the street, going to the beach, and I just had this overwhelming sense of my cup runneth over, and those were the words. And it was such just beautiful, expanded, just immense experience. And then I just went to the beach. And it was actually 2020. And there were these different experiences, like different realizations too. One being when I really experienced the non-separation of everything, non-separateness of everything, and just such intimacy with everything, being everything. But it wasn't like this, just some one specific moment. It was, and it has continued ever since, like these insights and this continuous discovery. And that was a surprise for me, that it keeps getting juicier in a way.
So Kim, for you, when was that?
For me, that was
when
summer.
You said the magic word.
Summer 2021.
Okay.
But I really love what Anna said, that it continues to unfold. Yeah.
So for me, I had like a breakthrough experience, what I want to call it, in 2014 in June. Like it felt like going through a threshold, and it was after my first threshold. It was actually, so I went through 3 months of hell, basically. Well, thought I'm gonna get crazy. My mind was just so busy, and back then it was like this concept of the world is your mirror. So this was for me like a universal law, but sometimes it was hard for me to see the mirror to myself. And there was a specific situation that drove me literally crazy. And I remember lying on my bed, and then it was just about And then suddenly it was like this big explosion. It was like just clarity came in. And then I was like, wow, that was amazing.
Was
And
it
then-
2014?
Yeah,
Or-
it's in June, yeah. I actually have a picture. Because I went I went out then, I just was like, wow, okay. And then I went out in the garden, it was a beautiful day, no clouds, nothing. But then I saw this rainbow in the skies. And I took a picture of it, I was like, wow, I've never seen something like that. So I claim that as a sign of my enlightenment.
Wow.
This summer of enlightenment for me, it was, I really doubted it because I thought there can't be one thing that fits for all. It's such an personal experience. So I'm really quite like Kim said, of course I hoped that something would happen, but because of my expectation how it should be like or how it should look like to get this experience, this enlightenment, for me it didn't show up till today. So finally I decided, well, there's so much clarity in me, it must be like that. But till now I hadn't had something like this big wow aha moment. And I think my soul choose it wisely not to have it till now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lucy.
I decided to get it on the beach next to the ocean, and I got it on 12 February 2022. On the beach next to the Pacific Ocean. It was exactly 5 meters from the Pacific Ocean. But I got my Susihun on 12 February as well in 2014. You know, 12 February 2014 and 12 February 2022. I was surprised by these dates.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, but you experienced what you created, right?
Yes,
So you
yes.
chose
I was
it
so
and
happy
you
to get it on the beach, really, next to the ocean.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I desired.
Thank you. Tim, how about you?
Mine was also, I am very connected to the ocean. I love the ocean. I spend most of the time at the ocean. And it kind of happened in between the workshops here in Hawaii on the beach. I was trying to kind of effort into this and push and force this concept of realization. So I was trying to get to it. And the moment that I let go and release the control, that I stopped efforting, suddenly something came over me and I had this kind of profound feeling of being connected to everything and being everything. Such overwhelming harmony of energies, of just everything just came in a split second, and at the same time it was unfolding and it felt like everything and nothing, and it was such a beautiful creation that I felt the creation within creation. Really, really profound, and I cannot find the right words to describe that because it was very also intimate and personal for me, how it related to me and how everything was just made sense. And kind of like, kind of like, why didn't I let go and why didn't I do this sooner? Why was I efforting so much? Just had to kind of relax into it and allow it to come to me where I was trying to chase it. And the more I
This is
chased
what
it,
Uncle Adamus has been trying to tell us all the way along.
but I being me, I was, really kind of maybe having fun in chasing it and the experiences. And
Can you please simplify, give your very simple and very distilled version of who the master is for you?
For me, the master has no agenda. So completely different than I thought Jesus was. and it's for me, it's only a term I would use for me internally. Never would speak it out loud because it would immediately make like this or this. So being a master is more a silent mode for me.
For me, it means knowing that I'm human and divine.
For me, it's the realization that it's all my energy. That was my experience back then. I named it "the world is my mirror" kind of thing, but it's basically the same concept behind it. It's my energy, and experiencing that, on a deep level.
Thank you so much. Marco, who is a master?
Who is my master? Is the wisdom. So for me, it's all the wisdom, all this distilled experience from all of my lifetimes. And just knowing always being aware that everything is my reality. I chose everything on some level. I chose everything that I ever experienced.
Thank you. Beautiful. Anna.
Yeah, even the sense, even the word mastery has this sense of like a bit of connotation for me. I would just say what I've experienced is like this deep sense of okayness, no matter what. Just this deep sense of okayness, and it just doesn't go away.
I love
It's
this word.
there.
For me, it's really completion, coming home to all that I am, and then going and having fun with it and creating and playing with it. So
So kind of conscious creation.
conscious creation, completion.
For me, master should be orgasmically wise and multiple. Orgasmically.
How do you mean
A lot
that?
of pleasure
Just
and
what-
passion in each way. The new level of everything with our orgasmic sense and orgasmic, not only creation, it's like, just the collapse of the orgasm of your soul in a new way, not how have you done before.
Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful jewels and pieces of wisdom from every single one of you. I'm really enjoying hearing this, and I would love to hear more about what were the main areas of changes for you. What were the main things that you've experienced that changed your everyday life into a master's life?
I'm still experiencing it. It's not that I can say, oh, that already happened. It just started. For me, it's first thing is the perception, and like Stefan said, everything is my energy that is so big and leads to a completely different perception of the world, of me, of everything that is, than before. And this is what big change where I now feel I can more and more allow it to be.
Thank you. Perception. Anna?
Yeah, I would say relationships.
Relationships.
Definitely. Yeah.
In which way?
Well, there are many points to this, but I would say things have just balanced out beautifully. Like there have been some relationships that have just fallen out, and I feel so much more balance in existing relationships and new relationships coming in, and just beautiful. And a big part of that experience for me is that there's this psychological balance with boundaries, good boundaries, clarity, communication, total responsibility of one's energies. And I just noticed that when there's not really a compatibility, it just kind of falls off. But this doesn't mean that this hasn't caused me any like gray hair, by which I mean that it just didn't happen like that. It's definitely been a process, and like Martin said, he's in the experience. So I feel like there's this continuous experience of discovery.
Yeah. So relationships. Marco, how about you? What has changed?
So for me, the biggest one is clarity. So I feel like I always have clarity. I'm always clear. Sometimes I make stupid choices. That's a different story. But I am clear what choices I have. And for me, freedom is knowing that I can always choose. That was something that is different. Before, I thought that I cannot really choose, right? So like if my mother told me she really needs to talk to me, I thought I don't have a choice, that I have to talk to her because, for whatever guilt and shame. But now I just ask myself, does my heart sing or not? And no, I'm busy in my poetic life, enjoying Hawaii. So that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm always clear what's going on, and just life became poetic, literally. Like my life is just beautiful. I am constantly rejoicing, and I feel really, really upset if I wasted 5 seconds on some bullshit of mine. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Marco. Kim.
What was the question?
Yeah. What was the main area that was affected by the state of mastery?
Self-love, yeah, because now I know who I am. I know my soul. I know my divinity. Then it's so much easier to allow for the imperfections, many imperfections of the human, and so I can allow the judgments to drop and the compassion to come in, and then of course that affects everything else.
For me, it's relating to things. So it goes in many different layers. It's sensuality, it's the wisdom, the clarity, relationships, everything changes because the way I relate to myself and everything else. So that has changed.
Can you give us an example? So, for example, if you're saying that it affects sensuality, how would you describe it?
It's just more colorful, more depth, more richer. There's an awareness. It's incredible. It's always changing. It's in this allowing state, and in the relationship, in the sensuality, it is what it is now, and then continues to unfold and change and evolve. And there's so much richness and depth, and that can be communing with the nature or with another person, or there's so many different layers, and then you get the new energies and the new layers go further into others, and it's just this whole sensual feeling that you really go into. It just makes coming into this kind of, you're like, wow, I feel almost like started living now for the first time to be able to feel all this, it's just, it is definitely a very personal experience. And
It is. It reminds me of something that Saint Germain told me a while ago, also when I was becoming realized, and I was asking him, why did I always want to go out of this life? And he said, because this is not life. Life is when you're walking and your every cell is singing, every part of you is singing. That is life. And what you were trying to get out of, that's not quite life. Stefan, what part of your life was really affected by mastery?
A lot of areas, for sure. What was meant like
Give us a list.
sensuality. Here's my list. Sensuality was a big thing, right? Like in so many new ways. Like some obvious things like nature, it's just like so like it's like suddenly it's like it feels like before it looked like a black and white picture, and now it's like this HD TV kind of experience. Like wow, you're like involved. But even sometimes just looking at the wall, it's like wow.
That explains a lot, Stefan.
I know, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything
But then
else?
also voicing boundaries in a clear way without taking stuff personally or being personal.
Relationships then, yeah.
Relationship area. But one interesting aspect for me, this was in 2015, after my first threshold that I crossed, there's this conception of, as a master you don't work and stuff like that. And I was also like, I don't want to work now because that's what you're supposed to do. But then suddenly I realized, no, I enjoy it, I really enjoy it. And I gave up my company actually first, so didn't want to work. But then I had like, it was funny, I had like only one, I applied for one company, I had like one interview. That was my first interview like in 15 years. And then it worked out. It took some time, 4 months. So my human would have given up already, but it just, that's another aspect, it's just like everything, the timing just works, stuff works like it works out in this beautiful way usually.
Yeah, Stefan has a big list because he's been counting since 2014. This is why. Thank you so much. Lucy, how about you? What has changed most in your life?
The same as Marka. Everything was about my clarity, layer by layer, losing my hypnosis, my blind spots, illusions, delusions, and all patterns.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Speaking about surprises, unexpected things, what struck you most? Like, what was most striking and most surprising? Something you absolutely did not expect about mastery, and maybe any disappointments, if there were any. Please.
I've experienced this sense of beautiful humility in the sense that it's just as if I'm somehow very human, like I am a human. So I'm human, free to be human. There's this freedom for the human to be what it is, because there's not this judgment anymore, what is enlightened or not, because there was this realization that everything is the expression of spirit, and this is, things are very simple. It's just the true nature of being, just what is right here, right now. So that's so liberating. That was so liberating.
Thank you so much.
It still is. And it plays so much into the experience of self-love, because there is this, this deep sense of okayness, everything. And I don't just mean on a human level, but just like everything's okay.
Thank you. That is such a great point, because all of us, maybe we were thinking, okay, I'm gonna feel different. I'm gonna maybe feel lofty. And Anna, what Anna is talking about, no, she felt the opposite. She felt, okay, now I'm human. Now I'm really free to be human. Something that you do not expect, right? From this state of, okay, I'm a master, and all of a sudden you feel, I'm a human. I'm free to be a human. I'm free to be human now, as much as I want to. So that is a surprise, really. Anyone else wants to share?
Maybe how much mass consciousness still affects, the life. It's like, probably makes sense because the sensitivity, it's just like feeling all those things. I thought it would be easier to just, like always on this cloud, right? But that's not the case.
Okay, mass consciousness, and it's
so it's very important to take personal time. It's something that's really important. Yeah.
I was quite surprised. For me, it was I found challenging to release and let go of the family. So that was a bit of a challenge for me to. I thought it would be easier to release and let go of the family energetically, and that took a bit of a toll on me. So I was quite surprised.
Biological family.
Yes. Well, also karmically, it kind of all plays, but it was a bit of a challenge, and I was definitely expecting that to be easier, to disattach in an easier way, but it was deeply connected.
Thank you. What was the most unexpected, most surprising, or maybe disappointing?
Maybe the emotions, two things. One is that, there still are emotions, but also then on the other hand, the emotions may become more like sensual and lighter. Yeah.
Thank you. Marco, what would you like to share?
Well, once I realized can't take diamonds out of my pocket. It was really easy. I'm just kidding. But actually, to my surprise, it got better than I could ever imagine. It really did. So when I first chose that I want enlightenment, I thought I'll have to go to Tibet or something and just be there with those people. Little did I know I'm going to be on some island in a paradise with. That's actually another thing, is being with people who are also like enlightened. So that was, I wanted to share that, but I don't want to go to Tibet to hang out with all these cool people who feel the same way I feel. And then, yeah, that was one of my biggest surprises and gifts, like seeing all these amazing people in one place in Hawaii and just living here in heaven and waking up every day and just literally living in heaven. So it's actually much better than what my human would ever. If I was scripting the movie when I chose enlightenment, it would be James Bond, some kind of script, but it's actually totally different. It's just way better than that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to ask you this interesting question about staying. For each and every one of you, I'm going to ask every one of you to rate your feeling from 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. How much did you actually want to stay when you became realized?
10.
10.
10.
I've always loved life a lot, no matter what. So it was, 10.
Marco?
So we all know what happened to Sartre. He poofed out when he had his enlightenment. So thankfully I knew I was already cautious. So when it started happening, when I had my first waves of self-love, people would be like, wow, like he said, whoa. I was thinking like, fuck, I don't want to poof out. Don't poof out, don't poof out, don't poof out. Stay here, stay here. So yes, it's a 10, but
10 plus plus.
10 plus plus, but it has tempting. In a moment, it can be very tempting because you tapped into where you truly belong. But now just bring that to earth. That's the new passion.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. From
Yeah.
1 to 10.
It's 10.
10.
Kind of want to see where it goes.
10's
But
here.
then there's also moments actually where it's like, it really makes sense. There's so much shit going on. But in general, then always the 10 comes through. It's like, no, you're here now. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, with your healer expectations, of course you want to stay. So much shit is going on. After you, everyone. Thank you, Kim.
For my heart, it was a 10.
Okay.
Some of the human aspects were not quite as committed always, but they came along.
Thank you.
It's a 10.
10. Wow. That is so interesting. Wonderful. What are the biggest advantages and disadvantages of being a master right now? Any obvious advantages of being a master in this moment?
So there is for myself, and there's obviously for the planet, being the light, to be able to illuminate and share the light, the potentials. This is a very important time that we are in, and I feel that my presence, being here, staying here, and radiating these potentials, radiating my being, I love life and joy of life and the beauty of life, to be able to be in that radiance and hold that space without pushing anything onto anybody, but just be myself and enjoying myself and my joy, to radiate that potential and also visibility for things to come. So,
Of big advantages, the realization that's all my energy. So it's kind of this trust that nothing can really go wrong, for me personally. And so it gives kind of this peace, for life. And the disadvantage is you have this clarity, and you see like a certain situation, and you're discussing it with someone, and you want to, explain a certain viewpoint of something. But then I've noticed that while I was saying this or trying to explain something, I noticed how the other person perceives it still from the other side, and I'm really stuck there. And then it's like, I just can't get there. It's like, really frustrating in a way. It's like, why can't you look around, see like the whole picture? And so it's not really a disadvantage. It's just like some frustration sometimes that comes through in those situations.
I would say the advantage is to be able to share this with other masters, which is so precious and delicious. And I mean, this is why one of the reasons why we came here now, to be able to share this. And yeah, disadvantages, obviously we are living in a time that's very intense in mass consciousness, and it's still affecting me. So yeah.
Mass consciousness.
Advantage is for me becoming more and more free to myself in life, and disadvantage is I'm feeling more lonely than before. Before it was easy to be in not even a relationship, but just having fun with someone else. Now, if someone else is there, or you have the wanting to some physical sensations, it's like you see the other person, and I feel so much of them, how they are, and it doesn't work anymore like it used to be. So it's not so easy to find someone. Not speaking of a long-term relationship, just for sometimes, it's not so easy anymore, because I'm getting so much like emotions from the other. It's more feeling of being lonely than before.
I see. Yeah, what a good point. Yeah, when I was, why I was asking all of you about disadvantages, the main thing that came to me was that at this particular moment, the energies are so intense. There's so many changes that it affects not just the emotions, not just your decisions of, okay, should I stay, should I not stay, but also the body. And just affects every part of you. And it's so intense that, yeah, you want to be here, you want to have fun. At the same moment, it's super intense. That was kind of what I would name as one of the disadvantages, just the intensity of what's going on around.
Disadvantages for me, we will be a challenge for a lot of people who are stuck in their dogma and in their moral patterns. And I don't know it's easy or not easy for us to have deal with them if we can attract them in our life. And we will irritate a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
This is what. And the advantages is, I agree with Kim. We have all the masters, the other masters, and we have the Crimson Circle. It's very important for us to have this support.
How do you detect a master? So what are the characteristics of a master? How do you define that? How do you see that?
For me personally, I would say acknowledgement of their being, of the wisdom, of how they vibrate, because they're not immersed in this macchio. They're just clear. There's clarity, and there's that light. You can just see it. It's just it's just there, and it's clear.
Thank you, Anna. How do you see, if you see a master? How do you recognize them?
For me, what distinguishes it is this expansion, discovery that keeps going and going.
Thank you. Marco, how do you recognize a master when you see one?
Yeah, they usually hang out in Kona Heaven in Hawaii around 11 o'clock on the period.
So you
kidding.
watch them like you watch
Yeah.
dolphins, right?
Yeah.
Just go out for breakfast and
Exactly.
watch some masters.
Yeah, it's actually one of my curse. One of the things that was always my curse is I see everybody as a master. I see a lot of them, their master self, their wisdom. I can see it. They don't act on it. They don't embody it. I see their master. I just know if they're speaking from their master self or not. So now the only difference now is that I know who is talking. I can hear it in their voice if they're speaking truth or not, their truth or not. But ultimately everybody is. It's just, you can just listen to it. You can smell it. It's actually, if you truly tune into it, you can actually feel it. And they're also in Hawaii coffee shop, probably somewhere. You'll see them.
Well, it's a feeling. For me, it's also like, as Marco said, so many people have so much beauty in them that you can feel the joy of the soul like bubbling, even like, and it's just like, wow, it's just this amazement. And then if someone is specifically a master, it's also not important for me. It's more like, how do I relate with that person? If the other person is a master or not, it's just not relevant. Because I know at some point they will get there no matter what. And but it feels like I can relate easier with people who are closer to the mastery or have to have their mastery. That definitely.
Yeah, it's a knowingness. Maybe one of the characteristics is a combination of depth, but also joy and lightness, because it's easy to have one or the other, but the combination of both at the same time is actually quite rare. And another characteristic is self-honesty. Like, masters are so self-honest. It's really quite cool. Yeah.
For me, it's the feeling. So when someone is in front of me, it feels lighter. There's not this sucking and
Lack of feeding.
yeah. It's all in all, it's a feeling. It's much lighter. There's no heaviness, and it's the feeling of feeling good with the other. Yeah. So it's nice to be with this person, with this master, to share some time to speak.
Yes, all the masters, they have their unique tone, like unique fragrance. Tell me, please, this. Yes, like
Can
not
be
the smell.
frequency or
No,
fragrance?
Fragrance, yes. Frequency as well, but fragrance, I can smell it, I can feel the unique tone. And it's the feeling deeply inside. And for me, it's very important to see, are you mature enough? For me, Kim is mature. And when I met her 5 days ago, I felt this exactly vibration of being mature. And for me, it's the most exquisite point, being a master.
So you define them by smell.
Yes, smell, tone, and the level of being mature.
So we're here in the Shaumbra Pavilion in Kona. This is the gathering point, one of the gathering points of Shaumbra energy. One of the places that Crimson Circle made into this beautiful, beautiful space where Shaumbra and masters can come and visit and share their knowledge and get some more of new knowledge. So for you, over the years, which tools were the most helpful, the most to the point for you personally on this journey, or maybe right now as a master? So maybe Anna, do you want to start?
Yeah, the bottle opener. I mean, really learning to relax and just, I would call it definitely self-love. That was my pathway, but learning to be kind.
How
with
do you
myself.
relax?
Yeah, doing things that I love to do, taking care of myself, taking care of my body, and yeah, and sometimes really, really just open the bottle of wine and like, oh, whatever. Or whatever that takes you out of the mind and out of that like tight focus, because that's a human trying to get somewhere and trying to get a result, instead of just like relaxing and then the realization that everything is complete already, everything is here. So that's one thing, and having been with Crimson Circle has helped so much, like immensely. And some of the workshops and Kihak but some of the concepts even, and then I find that there's a concept that serves you, and then that kind of goes away too, or like it becomes integrated. Let's say, for instance, the and. Really realizing that the human is free to be the human, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and then there's this divinity, and the human is here to experience that. Yeah.
Okay. Kim, the best tool for you?
Yeah, it's kind of related to relaxation, which is the conscious breath, and that for me has allowed me to get into that space of opening up and allowing and
Conscious breath.
conscious breath.
Well, for me, the most amazing tool that Adamus mentioned was everything that happens in your life is about enlightenment. So if I went through these crazy situations, or where like you feel like the world is falling apart, and it's like, well, it doesn't matter. At the end, it's this knowingness is like this. It's fostering this trust, basically, and that everything around me is just there to support me in my enlightenment, and that helped me really just to go through shit and other stuff, and that was basically then one of the main factors.
So trust that everything is related to your enlightenment.
Yeah, because the human always tries to then, is critical and think, oh, did I do something wrong? And what happened? And basically just trusting, hey, the human doesn't need to understand everything and might never know why certain things happened the way they happened. But then it will lead to the right outcome.
For me, I would say there's a few different tools. My favorite one was definitely getting a good bottle of wine and drinking that. Really kind of helped with all
Drink
the
together.
kind of helps. It just makes everything more beautiful and colorful. But it really kind of varied on scenario, and moment to moment it would change. So in some cases, not attaching to things, be disattached. So I'm not as affected as much when I'm not attached to it. In some cases, have the compassion that I'm going through, and it's a process, and trusting.
Compassion for yourself.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes, for myself. So, it's a process, understanding, and the other one is if I feel that something I don't resonate with and I don't agree with, is to take the responsibility to change, because I'm the creator. So to change that creation.
My favorite tools are you are already there, and stop working on it, and especially stop working on it. I got it more and more depth to recognize where I'm still working on things, and so there are many layers. And I thought, I'm not working on anything anymore. And then suddenly say, whoa, even here you are working on it. So this is helpful in some situations. You're already there is the big relief for me. So, and you can't do it wrong. That was even the first time I met Crimson Circle. I was on the site and I read some stuff and by accident, and then I listened to one shout. And in this shout, Adamus said, "You can't do it wrong." That was the sentence that was always repeated. And that touched me so deep that I said, I will stay with it. And since then, I stayed with Crimson Circle. And that was, for me, really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Marco, what was the most useful tool for you?
Convertible, Hawaii. I just go for a ride for a long time. Beautiful island, and then then you're like, whoa, really nothing really matters. Everything else is bullshit.
Was there anything in the Crimson Circle materials that really got stuck in your consciousness?
Yeah, if it doesn't make my heart sing, I don't do it. Like, it's just, that's it. I always go back to that. You just can't go wrong. And obviously, all the things that Adamus is talking about helps a lot, because your mind can go with you into enlightenment. Like, mine is like, oh, wow, I understand now what's going on. So it helps a lot. So you bring it, in dancing with the same thing, you have to bring your mind with you. Otherwise, it goes crazy. So, all the classes help me a lot. Have just like my mind to have an understanding of what's going on and what you're experiencing. So, but yeah, basically, doing what I like to do is what helps me a lot, and that's why I love Hawaii, because it always reflects to you who you really are, beauty.
Thank you so much. So, Lucy, would you like to share which tool is the most useful for you?
Because sometimes I cannot be polite and tolerant to the people and to the metrics. And when I am involved into the 3D reality and into the 3D metrics, I need to cut off this energy and this information. And I'm always rude with the people and with the metrics. And I say, don't put your narrow-minded binacle condom on me. It's too tight. You know, just throw it out. Leave it with yourself. It's your level. Narrow-minded binacle, but not mine. I am much more wider than you think about me, about the metrics, about the people, about the situation. And after that, I can be relaxed easily.
Do you tell it to others out loud, or do you tell it to yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, absolutely.
Every time.
When you're fed up with the suffering, I speak loudly, really.
So you basically tell others to keep their own space and let
Not
you
only
your own space.
their own space, everything, you know, just all their delusions, illusions, patterns, blind spots. And they try to put it on me, you know, every day. I say, no, it's too tight, sorry, it's for you.
Okay.
It's for you.
Wear it wisely. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful tool.
Without cutting off this energy and this information, you know, you will be like hesitated. No, just to accept your own mastery, you need to cut off and just, I can be relaxed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So we're in this point, we've already experienced enough in our mastery. If you could go back to yourself, and you can, in time, go back and say, I really, really feel for you. That's what you would want to consider do differently. What would you do differently in your, like, coming into your realization? What would be the different thing that you do, if anything?
Everything.
Can you please elaborate on that?
I would do everything differently, yeah. Oh my God, I was
Just
so...
like short list
Okay,
of...
just enjoy it more. Take care of the human, like focus on that, because the process itself is going to unfold naturally. Like, I don't need to put any energy or focus into the realization. I can just take care of the human.
Relax and allow.
With a bottle of wine.
Absolutely. Makes it more joyful.
Thank you. Anna?
Not sure, like, to do something differently, but yeah, I guess just enjoy. Relax. Enjoy, relax.
take more time to go inside and to quiet the mind and to get into your feelings. So like listen to your heart and not to your mind.
Well, it's a natural process, so it's kind of, there's no need to worry. It's just like will unfold in its perfection.
It's natural.
Yeah, it's natural.
So stop doubting myself, to remove all the doubts, about my own way.
Yeah. Stop doubting. What would you do different?
I really wouldn't change anything. I really wouldn't. I tried. I was thinking and thinking and thinking, and I really.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if we were to summarize our experience and our feelings and our wisdom and give a simple piece of advice to anyone who is on that path and feels they're not there yet, still hasn't chosen their realization, the piece of advice to them from each and every one of you.
Yeah, just do the things that make your heart sing, because that will connect you with who you truly are, with your soul, with your wisdom. And
Well, it's a natural process. Don't overthink it. Just follow your heart at the end and trust it.
I think the answer is going to be the same for everybody. It's the heart. I have to say the same. It's just, if it doesn't make your heart sing, just don't do it. It's so simple. And do not chase enlightenment, I promise. It's a lost cause. Just relax and it'll happen.
Yeah, I'd just say in this like everyday practical sense, take good, sweet care of yourself and do the things, some of the things that you enjoy, even small things, because like Kim said, it's gonna connect you with your heart, and then when you're connected to your heart, you're also connected to this bigger, it's a pathway to the soul, one way of putting it, the
Thank you.
self-love.
Tim, piece of advice from you.
I would say definitely get out of your way and be in your heart, in your passion, and in things that make you joyful. It allows you to be in a more graceful way, and trust.
Thank you. Lucy, what advice
I would
would
like
you
to say
give?
that you should overeat all your psychological and spiritual workshops. You should be fed up with the searching of yourself until you get intoxication. And otherwise, you will be distracted by all the spiritual and psychological bullshit, because it's very attractive. When you're searching for something, it's very attractive to find small gods, big gods to believe in, just to admire, to pray. This is the game. You should get your own intoxication with this game. Otherwise, it's not possible to get your clarity.
Yeah, stop searching. Stop searching and look what you said. What's your joy in your life? Do this. Every other thing will come to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your advices. I'm just going to wrap it up, reminding all of us what we were told back in the day. So when Adamas, again, was talking to us about mastery, he said that master is somebody who is conscious of consciousness. That's it. There's no lightning bolts, no walking on water, just conscious of consciousness. And that means that because your consciousness is endless and timeless, that means that it is you becoming enlightened, or you becoming realized, or you accepting your mastery. That is not the end of your evolution. And so another beautiful, beautiful quote of his that I wanted to finish this discussion with is, enlightenment doesn't mean the end of the journey, it means the awareness of the journey. So now I feel this is so beautiful, and this ties so beautifully into everything that we've discussed today, everything that we've talked today. I want to thank you all so much for today. It was such a delight, as it always is, talking to you, whether individually or in the group. Thank you for being here, for sharing your presence. I'm sure that your presence it shines, it speaks better than any words. And I wish you, all of you, to enjoy this awareness of the journey as much as you can. And we'll talk some more later. So thank you so much for today. Thank you.